Hi, I'm Lynette Xanders, Wild Alchemy. I am a qualitative researcher, a brand strategist, a cultural recalibrator, and an author. My goal is to help people who create brands do the best work they can possibly do. I've worked for some of the biggest and best brands in the world. I've seen a lot of their issues, which are quite common, and I found ways around them, and I want to share them with you. So today I want to tell you about how to get cheap and easy qualitative insights. And the irony is it starts with quantitative. So I use SurveyMonkey. Just is a good tool. It's not a great tool, but it's a good tool. And I have a system that will help identify your prospects for qualitative. So let me just back up a hot second. Ideally, companies could do proper quantitative and qualitative research. And I think companies assume that it has to be expensive because it is expensive. If you go through traditional companies and methodologies, it can be quite expensive. And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying do this instead of doing nothing. So I'll give you an example as we go. I worked with Oregon Humane Society. I still work with Oregon Humane Society, which is one of the biggest and most successful animal advocacy organizations in the country. And they asked me to come in to help with marketing. And one of the things that I always say is, do you have any qualitative research? And they said, we got lots of quantitative. But no, we haven't talked to people in years and years and years. We've talked to some of our donors, but no. And I'm like, well, you can't really do your marketing if you don't know who you're talking to. So why don't we do a SurveyMonkey? Send it to your database, which is why it's cheap, because most of the expense in a company is using a panel, is buying the people that you want to do your survey. And I have some issues with that, but that's for another day. But profiling your database is the best place to start. So we built a survey. We sent it out to their entire database, which we discovered they didn't have a database. They had a database for the vet hospital. They had a database for donors. They had a database for people who had adopted. They have a different database for fosters. So that none of this stuff was in one place. So first of all, they had fragmented communications. That was the first aha. So we built a single database to send them the survey and ask them kind of at the basic level, what experiences have you had with the Oregon Humane Society in the past 2 years? And the second big aha was how many people actually jumped in to do the survey. I think we had like 4,500 people, which to me says that that brand has insane levels of commitment or engagement from their community. Good to know. The other big aha was that when we looked at, so we originally were going to talk to donors, we were going to talk to people who fostered, we were going to talk to people who used the vet clinic. And what we found was everybody kind of did everything. Donors were also adopters, who were also fosters, who also used the vet clinic. So if they were in for a penny, they were in for a pound. And the organization didn't necessarily know that, and they didn't see them that way, and they certainly didn't talk to them that way. So it wasn't everybody, but we had this pile of unicorns, and a big one that used multiple facets of the organization. So doing a customer journey for them to say, okay, after they've adopted, hey, maybe we tell them about our vet services and how we give, inexpensive spay, neuter, and vaccinations for your adopted animal. Oh, and we have behavior training if you run into, difficulty with your newly adopted pet. And then maybe we talked to them about this and maybe we talked to them about that. So it was just creating a through line through the organization of all of their marketing with the consumer journey at the center of it. And that was life-changing for them. And I think the only expense truly was my time to kind of walk through this and talk to the people at the end of it. So the way that the survey helps us talk to those people is people go through that SurveyMonkey survey, but at the end, we ask them to opt in. Do you want to opt in to find out more about research projects that we're doing and to talk further with us? I think 70% of the people said yes. So all of a sudden we have 70%, 4,500 people who were like, yeah, sure, hit me up. I want to talk with you more. That is the other biggest expense of using a big organization, is contacting those people to invite them to speak to you. We gave an incentive. It's a small amount of money. Most of the people gave it back. They really just wanted to help. So survey, opt in, recruit, talk to them, and you find out. So yes, those people, once they were in for a penny, in for a pound, that we actually got from the survey. But when we talked to people and we understood the why behind their loyalty, there are many, many places you can adopt a pet in Oregon. So the Oregon Humane Society, they loved how they showed up. They loved that they were not government funded. They loved, how they showed up in marketing. There were some things that we learned that kept them from walking away from things that worked and leaned into things that were going to work better. And we would not have found that from the data alone. They hadn't found it from the data alone. So finding those insights, those qualitative insights, helped marketing, they helped the consumer, and they helped them as an organization find that common platform so that they weren't as fragmented, and that's going to make them much more powerful. So I hope that's helped. I have case studies, I have videos, I have tools that are free, I have courses on kind of how to do this yourself. So if you want to learn more, find me at wildalchemy.com.